Thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming on and talking with us. I know you just came out with the new book, Max and Ollie's Guide to Baseball. How exciting is that?
I'm so excited. It was something, I mean, I've been working on it for over a year. And so now that it's here and it's out, I'm thrilled about it.
So, how did you come up with this idea?
So, I had my son last April, and he's 16 months now. And right when he was about 3 months, my husband got traded. He played with the Cubs, and then he got traded to the Royals. And so I remember sitting on the floor. This little 3-month-old baby was rolling around on his play mat, and we were watching one of the games. And I thought, you know what, I am probably going to be in a position to be the one to teach this kid about baseball. And so I started looking on my phone for resources, videos, books, specifically about baseball and specifically targeted towards, young kids. And I didn't really find anything. I found some, ABC books in the, B is for baseball kind of thing, which is great. But I didn't find really any stories or any, basic rules of the game. And so over the course of a few months, I kind of started to brainstorm if there was something that I could create. And now here we are.
That is truly such an inspiring and amazing idea. Unique. I mean, like you said,
Thank you.
I've read tons of baseball books, because I was a college softball player, and
Oh, nice.
I read like Derek Jeter books. I mean, they're pretty lengthy books. So, for something that for kids to understand, especially with like pictures and visualization, like it's so much easier for them to learn than, just watching. They also hear your voice.
Yeah. And that's totally, I was kind of hoping to bring some of the excitement from reading and, like you said, the bright colors and all of that into that first age where, maybe you don't want to put them in front of a video or maybe want something to supplement with the video, whatever it is. But yeah, to kind of bridge that gap until you get to the Derek Jeter type books.
Exactly. Then, what type of book, what's the next level you're looking to do?
I would honestly love to make something like this a series. I don't know exactly what Max and Ollie's next adventures will be, but I think that for me, I grew up watching baseball and I grew up with sports. I have two brothers and a sports loving dad, and so sports was just, they were always on in my house. I love watching them. I loved going to the games. I love watching the games. So I think it's just kind of a natural thing for me to want to provide that to my son. And with my husband playing baseball, it's kind of, he's born into a sports family the same way that I was. So if I can help create content for other kids and it excites them, then great.
I think that's a great idea. Now, I saw that for every book sold in the 2020 season, you're giving to an organization. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our family fund is called Monty's Marbles, and we developed it in 2018 when we were with the Cubs. The Cubs were awesome helping us get it off the ground. And our motto there is kind of, we don't know what we don't know. So we know there are organizations out there that are incredible, that are doing incredible things. And so part of it is taking nominations from people like, hey, I know of this great organization, check it out. Or just, hearing if we run into an organization, we hear of an organization, we start doing what we can to help them. So when I had Max, basically to get back to your question about the 2020 season, when I had Max, it was really challenging for me in a lot of different ways. We were moving a lot. I was on my own a lot. I was trying to figure out how to be a new mom. And there were, as I'm sure any new mom would tell you, some really hard days, but I realized how fortunate I was to have the resources to get me through those hard times. I was never worrying about where my kid's next meal would come from or if I could afford the amount of diapers that he needed. Yeah. So we kind of knew moving forward, we wanted to focus on organizations supporting women and children. And we have an awesome partnership with Royals Charities, the Kansas City Royals charitable organization. And they've put us in touch with some organizations in Kansas City. And like you said, a portion of the proceeds from every book through the season are going to go to local Kansas City organizations. And then as we move forward, hopefully we'll just be bringing more and more organizations on board that act to for, the lifetime of this book and outside of the book.
Wow. And I'm sure with all of you guys giving back, they must be super appreciative of it. Have you had some success? How much success have you had so far?
Yeah, we've had a lot of success. And especially, we kind of had this whole plan for what we wanted to do this season and, how much we wanted to donate and how we wanted to bring people to the ballpark and all that. And then when COVID hit, we started realizing that, or we started hearing that now more than ever, these organizations really needed support. So we've been able to work with a diaper bank, and I learned an incredible amount of how many families struggle to provide diapers for their children. We've worked with organizations that support inner city children and give them fresh food, education, all this. And we got this one video from an organization with all the kids, thanking us, like, I'm thankful for produce. I'm thankful for organization. I'm thankful that the Montgomerys are my friends. And we were just like, oh my gosh, it's awesome. So we've done some really cool stuff, and more importantly, met some really cool people through this.
I'm sure as a creator, not only just being so excited about having your book out and finally being able to share it with everyone, now that you're seeing how much success and how rewarding it is to have so many people like thank you and really like appreciative of you guys giving back, and something like, it's not just playing on the field for your family, it's also what you do off the field, and I'm sure like most people can look up to that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, we definitely want to use, time in baseball we know is very short in the scheme of life, and we're grateful for every day we have, but we also want to recognize the platform that we have to do that. So yeah, thank you. We appreciate that for sure.
Of course. Now, so you talked about wanting to create possibly, obviously you're getting the success for this book and it just came out. What have you been thinking of ideas for the next book?
So I've had kind of the initial idea was maybe we do, kinds of sports. And of course we want to include not just, we want to include baseball, softball, we want to include, tennis, all of that kind of stuff. But also I think being so ingrained in baseball, there might be, a real opportunity there to branch out and kind of get into more. This book is very high level, 3 strikes, you're out. 4 balls is a walk, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I definitely need to wrap my head around what it would all look like. But I think there's some real opportunity in a couple different ways.
That's awesome. And how has it been during this pandemic and traveling and figuring out where we're going to be and what's the next move? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we actually just moved for the 6th time since Max was born. So,
you have to have something new for each like place, just like pick out something new to bring along.
Totally. Yeah. Or like maybe we get a different piece of art or something we put on the wall so that we can map out. I like that idea. Something to really visualize all these. Yes. Should start doing that. But yeah, it's been overwhelming to say the least, just in terms of the unknown, number one, and number two, COVID with all the different protocols and all of that. It's something that I know all the athletes have to adapt to, and then their families, but it's honestly the same as, a lot of other, everybody has to adapt to job changes and family changes and traveling or not being able to travel and all of that. So, we definitely try to keep it into perspective that way, but also just try to stay adaptable, which can be a challenge for me. I have my color-coded planner that gets pretty much thrown to the side 9 times out of 10 in general with baseball, but especially now with COVID. So I just try to, like I said, stay adaptable, go with the flow as much as I can.
Right. And as far as, being an author for this book, what were some other, successes have you had within your career-wise? I know I saw you do a lot of like on-air stuff too.
Yeah. So I actually grew up doing musical theater, and I just love to perform and, be, I guess in that stage, it wasn't really on camera, but, I love to just perform for whoever would watch. But I also grew up loving technology. And so I got a job at Google right out of college. And I loved that, but I just felt like I always still had that itch to perform. And so I ended up getting an opportunity to be the face and voice for a big electronics manufacturer. And I branched out from there into a lot of mainly tech hosting, talking about cell phones, gadgets, home security for HSN, Amazon, all the different companies there. And it became, challenging to balance all of that with baseball because,
right.
They don't get days off. They get, I think we were in a unique situation when I had Max, but he was back to work the next day, different stuff like that. So I think that's part of how this book ended up coming about, is I still love to create and do things, but with baseball, and now especially with COVID, it's not as feasible to, I mean, you're on our talents, like it's
Believe me,
tough.
I'm
So,
just like, I actually work with the Mets. So
oh my
I,
gosh, yeah. So
yeah, so I work with the Mets. I had a pregame show there, and obviously, it's really not a pregame show in the stadium without any fans there. So I can't,
right? Oh gosh.
I'm not just gonna talk to the dugout like, "Hey guys, like this is
Yeah.
on." Like
How you guys feeling today? Max on. All right, looking good.
exactly. So it's mostly like we would talk about, the item of the game and what's gonna be given away and what you can
Oh,
pick up in the store and for the kid. Yeah. So I'm pretty much just watching ways just like you, but.
yep. So you know exactly how I feel. I'm excited to watch you in action when you get back because I can tell you are going to be. I mean, that's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah, so for me, I've just, after playing college softball, I realized I wanted to stay in sports and do something along the lines of, not being not in the industry, but at the same time, like, I didn't know I was going to play college softball forever. So I
Right.
decided to work in baseball, and it's been a great journey for me. I mean, I turned 23, and I've been working with the Mets. This would be my fifth season.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so I've been there
Wow.
for 5 years, so I've just been kind of working my way up into things, so it's been pretty.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to follow you and see all of your good stuff that you accomplish. That's
Thank
super
you.
cool.
Thank you so much, and yeah, like, talking to you, especially with I know having it's not easy being at home and also taking care of a little one. I mean, I have 4 siblings myself, we're out of 5, and
Oh yeah.
they're all younger, so, believe me, I know exactly how that goes, and it's just, like, having to entertain also, and it's like, there's really not much besides, like, them taking the iPads and just
Right.
glued to the iPad.
Right.
So to be able to have a book that's, like, new and something that's so, like, teachable in such a small little like, it's so different, unique, and I'm sure, like, for a lot of new moms, it's super inspiring.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping that especially in COVID first hit, I was like, awesome. I picked a great year to publish a book about baseball. But now I'm kind of like, all right, well, I'm hopeful that maybe this will be another piece of entertainment that can, take a little bit of that time away from the iPad, or even if you just keep their attention span for an extra 5 minutes, 5 minutes goes a long way nowadays.
Oh, yes, it does. Now now to wrap up this interview, what piece of advice could you give to, let's say new moms, women in general, on if they want to start something new and not be discouraged in doing it?
I think that is one of the most challenging things is to not be discouraged because it never ever is going to look the way that you thought it would. And I've learned that the hard way many, many times. You kind of have a road of, okay, I want to get here and I'll just do X, Y, and Z and it'll happen. And then no matter what, you're going to get thrown a million rocks. But I've found that if you feel like you're thing and you just start doing it, if you power through, it might not always look the way that you thought it would, but most likely it's going to be a foundation, a building block for the next thing you're going to create and the next thing you're going to do. And pretty soon, 5 years down the road, you're probably going to be in this position that you never thought you would be in. And you look back and you go, oh yeah, that thing that felt like a failure or that one time I almost quit, but I didn't really helped me get to this point. So, even with the book, there were so many times when I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I'm done. And then there would be one little thing on one little page that you look at and you're like, I have to tweak that, but I know when I tweak that, I'm going to much be back to square one on the draft and have to go through all these approval processes again. And there was a time, and I think it was April, where my husband was just like, are you okay? So it's like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I just need to be done. I've worked so hard on this. But it's like, if you can power through those times, if you just follow your gut where you're like, I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, it almost always turns out positive, either in terms of experience or in terms of outcome.
Or have you ever printed out a page and then you're like, wait a second, I need to change this after printing it? Has
Yeah,
that happened to you?
it happened. With this one, it was like I had the whole draft. I thought I was done. And I got the proof back from the printer and I was like, okay, like I submitted it and I was like, walked downstairs. I was like, I submitted it. Yes. Like, I think it's ready to go. And then I got the proof back the next day and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I had to work with the illustrator and the graphic designer who helped with the wording. And you literally have to go because you have to go to the illustrator first. to, you know, resize, image. Then you have to go to the graphic designer to redo where the text was. And then you have to resubmit the proof. It's another 24 hours for approval. And I was just like, this is the worst. But at least I didn't get it printed. Like I never had the physical book. I was lucky when I got the physical book. It was exactly what I was hoping. Yeah.
So everybody listening to this right now, if you need advice on making a book, go to Stephanie. Right
Call
here.
me. Yeah.
Girl over here.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm ready for you.
Hey, who knows? I may have to come up with a book with my life just stuck inside of the house.
Seriously, do it. Let me know. I'll help you through the process. For real. I'd love to read it.
Wow. Thank you so much again, Stephanie, for coming on.
Thank you so much. I love talking to you.
We'll connect over Instagram. I'll follow you, and then I'll keep you updated from there, and I'll follow your journey.
Perfect. Yeah, I look forward to following yours too.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Soon. Okay.
Okay. Bye.